here is a statement. I wanted to play this, and again, respectable pastor. Not we're not talking about people here. We're just gonna address the idea.
Right.
Uh, I want you to think about what he says about Project 2025, and let me know if you agree or disagree with this.
Pastor Doug, do you believe that Project 2025 will bring in Sunday's law?
The language I read in Project 2025, you maybe have heard the expression a nothing burger. I read it over and over again. I know people made a lot out of that. But if everything, first of all, the president doesn't have to follow anything that the Heritage Foundation is a think tank. He doesn't have to follow anything that they come up with. They're suggestions. Democrats have got the Council on American Progress. They've got their think tank. Republicans have their think tank. They come up with platform ideas. And there was something in there about protecting the time to worship on Sunday, or it says for some this would be Saturday. It was really protections for workers so that you either get extra time, extra payment. I didn't see that as a law compelling anybody to worship on that day. So if they're going by that, I didn't see the Sunday law that is compelling you to worship on that day in that language. I just have to be honest.
Okay.
But whenever you see the word Sunday and law in the same paragraph, it gets people pretty excited.
It does.
Okay.
Okay. I don't agree with John Batchelor there because he's taking it as people are just having an emotional response. Well, he didn't talk about the word Sabbath being there. It is in there. There are biblical words in that policy. Now, if they change it, I won't buy it because the intent is to control, and looking at who's controlling this whole project, it's extremely Catholic. It's extremely Catholic. And we know what they want to do with Sunday. That's already been stated. It's already been told to us also in prophecy, what will happen. It's buying and selling. How else is that going to happen? And the covenant with God by keeping the Sabbath, breaking the covenant or keeping the covenant. It's a covenant with God that we obey him and keep that Sabbath. So I just think that, when Donald Trump was running and he said that he didn't know about Project 2025, at that point, I wanted to believe that this was some overzealous policy wonks trying to push it on him. That's what I thought, maybe. That's what I hoped. But it wasn't. And he has really, really embraced the Catholics. We know that. He's had a Catholic mass and prayer meeting for Catholics, Catholics for Catholics, hosted at Mar-a-Lago just a few weeks ago. They had an Ash Wednesday service in the White House. He ordered the flags flown at half staff for the Pope.
Wow.
He also said the state. He said federal and state. He doesn't have authority over the state to fly flags at half-mast. He could say federal buildings, which he shouldn't have done that either. But I'll say he's gone out of his way to fully embrace Catholicism. And I know that I don't believe he has spiritual discernment. His wife's Catholic, his daughter's Jewish, his son-in-law is Jewish, very ecumenical in many respects. That's not the kind of discernment that we need.
Pastor James,
of course,
I will just add to that, that if you want to really know what the intent of the authors of Project 2025 is, well, just look at what they were able to accomplish in the state of Utah, where they were able to secure Sunday restrictions.
Yeah.
And at the state level. Project 2025, remember, that's federal, even though how many emails, Linda, between Heritage Foundation and our school superintendent? How many emails?
1,500 between the department in Oklahoma and Heritage. Yeah.
Mercy.
2,500?
And that was within a framework of time in 1 year.
Oh, wow.
And he's been there longer than that, but that was just one period that they looked at.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. So if you look at what happened to Utah and you factor in that the one who led that state law in Utah was one of the authors of Project 2025, where they were able to have more Sunday restrictions on franchises. You can, I mean, the 2,500 email. Look, I like Pastor James. I think we're pretty good friends. He doesn't write me that much. You know,
Right.
I'm lucky to get 3 emails from him a year. But the point is this: that many emails, it's not conversation. I think it's more directions, instructions. You know what I'm saying? So yeah,
Right.
I would just ask our Adventist pastors to look at Project 25 in context of what they are already establishing in certain states, and that'll tell you everything you need to know.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's good. That's good.
Good point.
Yeah. We don't need biblical terms in public policy, which becomes public law. And they breached that. They crossed that border right there, in the wording. Besides the fact that it's a Sunday law. I'm just saying that makes it too obvious to me.